back to the Jump Force character reviews. Today's episode we are covering Boruto Uzamaki from Boruto The Next Generations. Yes, they're two different shows according to Jump Force and whatnot, so that's what I'm going to be referring to from Boruto as. Don't like the problem? Well, I'm sorry if I have to be technical with the game coincides as different shows. So let's talk about Boruto for a bit, and apparently, let's talk about why I don't like him as a character, because apparently his personality is that he's just basically a giant douche who thinks he's the best at what he does. Which is very, very stupid. See, with a character who's like a douchebag, kind of like Lo Wang, for example, one of my favorite douchebags in video games, Lo Wang actually makes it funny and interesting and actually grows as a character because of this.
Tearful heart.
Hey, it beats being the fool of the tearful thought.
That's deeply stupid.
But it's true.
Fair enough.
Get out!
Boruto just stays cocky and arrogant for a while, it seems. I would say more, but I don't want to actually watch any more Boruto. And another fact is that apparently, we don't get this in the game, but this is apparently one of his transformations is called Kama. It's apparently like a seal-like thing which allows him to absorb other techniques, and it's shaped like a diamond on his hand. Why we didn't get this instead of what he has is I don't know. As well as his mysterious eye called a Shogun, which is basically Soldier's tactical visor mixed in with the Spider-Man spider sense. If that makes any sense at all. Basically, he can just keep tracking you and detect things without the need of a normal eyeball. By the way, he got that at age 8, but fully is able to use it at will at age 16. Well, with those facts off Boruto out of the way, yes, I only listed those two because I don't have Leo helping me with this episode. He'll be helping out most likely with the Deku episode based off your guys' response from the Kakashi episode, if that makes any sense again. Let's get into gameplay. We're going to be going over the moves as we normally do in training mode, and today's test dummy is Vegeta. I've been asked like why I don't do this in actual battles anymore. Because here's the thing, I used to do that in actual battles, get the moves and stuff, but I realized some of the moves weren't exactly easy to show off because of, you know, opponents being able to block everything I do. So doing it in training is probably the easiest way to get it. Yeah, it doesn't seem entertaining, but it works, is the thing. Boruto's typically built around a setup/speeds the character. If you want to use him by himself, he is great for speeding up. Otherwise, his moves are typically very good setup maneuvers. Oh, except for one of them. Let's go over his first one, the Vanishing Rasengan, which is a Rasengan that can launch at the enemy, disappears, and then blow them up. Not very good, if you ask me, because not only can you avoid this by yourself, and I wish it was a better combo starter, in all honesty, because it goes for a while, then it disappears after a while, and you can avoid it ridiculously easily. And up next we got, I believe it's Boruto Burst. Boruto Burst is another 1-meter attack where Boruto summons a clone and throws his actual physical self. Yeah, that's right, he can summon a clone just to throw himself. It is a fantastic combo for Boruto to have. Although a bit finicky with the hitboxes and everything. It's not too terrible if I'm being perfectly honest. It was just a little bit tricky to nail since I didn't really play Boruto that much. The easiest way I detected hitting it was using a 5-hit combo and going into Boruto Burst. It's effective, but not as great as his ranged attack, which is probably one of his best things despite how easily you can block it. Lightning Triplet, which causes you to throw 3 lightning shurikens at ridiculous speeds, and you don't even need to fully charge it, which is insane. And fully charging it just makes it only a little bit worse. The speed of these is actually ridiculous. Sure, your opponent can block it if they see it coming, but they have to block it while you're charging it. If you just toss it like normal, then that's probably going to be very hard to avoid. Well, that's almost enough. The awakening for Boruto is, guess what? Not what we went over with the facts. It's just a temporary boost to everything. His ultimate, however, well, that's actually a very intriguing one called Boruto Spiral. And let's just say I'm not a huge fan of Boruto Spiral, and I'll go over why in a moment. To the naked eye, you might be like, oh, that's not too bad. It's nearly as slow as Zoro's ult, but the thing I've heard here is that Boruto doesn't have an easy way to use it, unlike Zoro's ult. It's not as fast as even Renji's ult. Renji's ult is actually faster, and it's pretty much the same thing. But that's enough about the special moves. Why don't we get into a match, and we'll go over Boruto in more detail. Okay, so Boruto, like I said earlier, is a mix between you can set up some attacks like Vanishing Rasengan, even though it's very hard, to hit, and it's a little bit hard for your opponent to track down, as well as like himself. He's actually he's very fast for what he tries to be. You just gotta be careful with Boruto Burst, because here's the thing about Boruto. Every time I found something good about the character, I immediately found something extremely bad. Like Boruto Burst is one of those moves where it's like, it's really great, but there are some easy flaws with it. You can be hit out of it with a range projectile, or if you somehow have timing like the following clip I'm about to show you, you can actually grab Boruto and just throw him. I find that to be mind-numbingly insane that move has that kind of weakness. But hey, Boruto's not too bad for being a fast combo character, if you can get the combos off properly. But do I think he's a good speed character? Not really. I think he's easily better speed characters in the game. In fact, I don't even go for his ult because I think it's too slow, even if it's fully charged. You're much safer for setting up a Awakening in Boruto and then going to someone else to hit the ult. So Boruto is not great, but I wouldn't say he's too terrible. He's somewhere in between of good and decent. That's about it. Also because while there are some good things about Boruto, there are more bad things as well. But not as bad as, say, like Jotaro, who we went over earlier in the series. And Boruto's Vanishing Rasengan can be effective if you can make sure your opponent doesn't see where it's coming from. That being said, what do I rank Boruto? I'm gonna have to give Boruto, since my scale's being fixed, thanks Leo, a 6.5 out of 10. Here's the thing, like for everything good, I found something immediately bad, but there was a little bit more good than bad about Boruto, such as Lightning Triplet's ridiculous speed, as well as the Vanishing Rasengan being mostly annoying to use, and the learning curve of Boruto actually being kind of making sense here, with it being difficult despite him being a fast character. I wouldn't recommend playing Boruto personally, but if you want to give him a try, I say you should go for it. Just try to be careful how you use Boruto Burst. Well, with that being said, come back later this week as we go over the one, the only, Kane from Jump Force. I'm going to hold off on doing the Deku audio until Leo's ready for it, so Kane will be coming up next this week instead of Deku. And until then, I will see you all next time.